I'm not gonna lie, sharing these numbers online is a little scary. Hi, I'm Alex, I'm 31, and I'm an enterprise software sales executive. Pay transparency videos are honestly some of my favorite videos to watch. Maybe I'm just nosy, maybe you are too, so here's my salary progression over 3 years in tech sales. Towards the end of 2022, I was working in real estate, but I knew that I wanted to make a change, so I started looking for different roles that seemed to kind of fit my background, and I found a role called an SDR, or a sales development representative, and that's how I broke into tech sales. In that first role, I started with a $75,000 base salary along with a $5,000 signing bonus and technically unlimited commission. This company had just launched their SDR program, so there wasn't a clearly defined OTE or on-target earnings, which just means your salary plus the commission you would earn if you hit quota. But that year, I ended up making about $28,000 in commission, which brought my total compensation to $108,000 for that first year in tech sales. Toward the end of the first year at that company, I was offered the role as an SDR team lead, but right around that same time, a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn. So even though I was considering taking the team lead role, as I went through the interview process,
So people are still being hired on LinkedIn, right? If you're watching this and you've ever been hired on LinkedIn, kindly share with us in the comment section. I love LinkedIn, jobs stories. Because I for one, I have a friend, my very good friend, she got hired from LinkedIn and that job paid us like it's paying her so much well, but she has progressed from that job. But that job gave her a lot of leverage. So I love it when I hear people say, oh, they got hired from LinkedIn. So share with us.
and got to research the company some more. And also, I talked to some of the SDRs that were currently working there through LinkedIn. I decided that the opportunity and the growth there long term was better, so I decided to take that role. So with that switch, I became an enterprise SDR, and my starting base salary was 80,000. The commission, if you hit quota, was 25,000. So my OTE was 105, and I was able to get a $5,000 signing bonus there as well. Later on that year, I was actually able to get promoted to the SDR team lead there, so that bumped my base salary up slightly to 85,000. And I also exceeded quota, so I finished the year with 115,000 in total compensation for year two. So going into year three, I just want to mention that at this point, I had made it really clear to my leadership team that my goal was to go into a full sales executive role. My base salary stated 85,000, but I exceeded quota again, so I earned 35,000 in commissions plus a $5,000 bonus for some additional training that I was doing outside of the typical SDR team lead role. So that brought my total comp for year three to 125,000. While the internal promotion that I'd mentioned before was on track, I knew from talking to other people that a lot of times when you're being promoted internally, you just don't get the same type of pay increase that you might if you were actually switching companies. So just being aware of that, I started reaching out to some people in the network that I had built up. And there are actually two opportunities that came from that. Long story short, I was able to leverage those opportunities into a 76% increase in my base salary. So that brings my current compensation to $150,000 base, $150,000 in commission for an OTE of 300,000. It still feels pretty wild to me to say that, but I'm not unique. There are many other people that have been able to achieve this type of pay in tech sales. I hope this was helpful in some way. And if you have any questions about tech sales or
I actually enjoy videos like this, even though I'm no longer in corporate. Somebody said, "What do you actually do in in these jobs?" But I don't think job progression matters what you do. Like you don't need to copy what the other person is doing. Why do people actually want to know what are you doing? What are you doing? As if that will help them. Someone said, "Yep, old timers call me a job hopper. Call me the Easter Bunny if you want." But I went from 32K in 2018 to 52K in 2019 to 87K in 2021. I'm at 95 now and remote, all from taking new jobs at different places. Loyalty doesn't pay the bills. I don't even see it as a bad thing because I in 2 years I served or I worked in three different organizations and each of them paid more money than the last one. So I've experienced it and it's actually good. 75 on base is absurd. Ooh, she's now asking what was your base as an SDR? The person didn't respond. I'm in tech sales 14 years. My best years I made $330,000. Typically, I'm 2040K to 2070K as an account executive. I work from home. Ooh, this is nice. Working from home has got to be more fun.
I saw a post earlier today and she was talking about salary transparency, and that's my jam. I am so big on pay transparency, equality versus equity, just leveraging yourself as an asset and, being paid for that. So I wanted to walk through mine and just to kind of showcase what you could be earning out there if you were asking for the right amount. The biggest thing that I live by day in, day out is closed mouths don't get fed. For a little bit of
That's
back
right.
context, I did graduate from Michigan State in 2016 with a degree in public relations and advertising. With that being said, when I graduated college, I got an offer to join a big power tool company. They have a sales and development program, and I moved to LA. So that pay started me at $45,000. Within like a couple of weeks, it felt like, hey, you guys are all going to get a raise. So that bumped us up to $48,000. I did that role for about like a year and a half, and then I got promoted to a market manager in Baltimore. So I moved out to Baltimore, and they bumped up my salary to $53,000. I did that role for about a year, and then I got promoted again to join like the corporate headquarters and join their channel marketing group, which got me to $60,000, and it was like an associate customer marketing role. I did that for like a year and a half, and then once COVID hit, I asked to be like laterally moved over to the product marketing group. And even though it was lateral, they did give me a $10,000 pay increase. I negotiated that, so again, closed mouths don't get fed. And that bumped me up to $70,000. Once COVID hit, I got pregnant, and I was like, no, like I don't want to be in an office. I don't want to live in Baltimore. That's where the offices were. So I ended up changing companies. I went to a really large CPG company, and they offered me $110,000 in 2021. So I cracked the six-figure code there. Did that role for almost 2 years. So I had a couple of merit increases during that time. And then I received my MBA from the University of Maryland and knew I wanted to get back into marketing long term. So I actually took a brand marketing role in the same company, and that bumped me up to about $126,000. That role did have a bonus. I think the percentage was like 14%, so 14% of the base, $126,000. Did that role, got pregnant, went on that leave. I came back to a different role with a merit increase, and that got me to about $130,000. Once I got back, I realized that I didn't want to work in an office. I wanted to work from home, so I ended up moving companies again, and I found a similar role of customer marketing at a pet health company, and they offered me $170,000. So I jumped from 130 to 170, and that had a bonus structure of 17% of your base salary. And obviously that's life-changing money. At that point, I had cracked the $200,000 income across both the bonus and the base salary. And then most recently, I got promoted again within that same company to kind of like a director type role, and that put me at about 190,000 plus stock. Now I have stock options as well as 17% on that base salary. So with all that being said, like I really started at ground zero after graduating college. I have worked for 3 companies, and I've had 2 really big salary increases, both of them about $40,000. So just chase your goals, chase those salary goals. They're very much feasible. You just gotta be hungry, and remember, closed mouths don't get fed.
I love this closed mouth, don't get fed. Chase it. I love that she was willing to put in the work and she got results. Somebody said, Latina here, I make 6 figures, no degree, and my annual bonus is 25%. I feel incredibly lucky. Whoa. As much as people are complaining, like, life is getting tough, life is getting harder, there are people out there that, that are also achieving their dreams. So I love to be sharing both ends so that people know that what you're going through you can come out of it, because there are people there out there making ends meet. Look at this woman now, no certificate, like no degree, yet she's making 6 figures. Somebody has now said, I work in government. Sometimes I worry that my specific knowledge isn't transferable to private industry. Have you seen anyone make the transition before since you live in the DMV? Truthfully, there has been jobs I was 100% not ready for and had full knowledge, but I played on my thoughts and they saw my potential. I have seen a lot of teachers. Wow, this is nice. I love that she responded. That is pretty good for marketing in general. I went from 47.5k in 2010 to 310k base stock cash bonus in 2024. I'm at 335k now. This is incredible, guys. Whoa, whoa, this is nice. This person says started at $15 per hour. Fast forward 8.5 years later, I'm making 155k thousand plus bonus. I'm fully remote. I have bachelor's in degree in public health. I love remote jobs, guys. I love remote jobs.
Here's what my realistic salary progression has looked like as a 24-year-old Londoner who moved to the US with absolutely no plan. So my first job in the US, I was making $16 an hour working at Best Buy. For those that don't know what Best Buy is, it's just an electronics department store very similar to Curry's PC World. I used to work in the TV department, and after about a month, my boss told me I sold the most TVs and gave me a raise to $17 an hour. My next job in the US, I was making $20 per hour working in tech support. Man, I hated this job so much, I quit after 3 weeks. I walked out for lunch one day, and I didn't come back. I was meant to be working as a tech support guy, but they had me doing warehouse work. I should have known when they gave me the job as soon as my interview ended. I then worked various jobs in the $21 to $24 per hour range, security, delivery driving, and while I'm working at these jobs, I'm also applying for tech positions and electrical roles that are going to pay me a lot more money. After about 4 months of applying to jobs, I finally got a job offer in tech sales that was going to pay me $80,000 a year. But
I turned it down. Yeah, I turned it down just to do this.
literally the next day, the electrical union called me up and said, do you want to be an electrician? In my first year as an electrician, I made $55,000. And my second year as an electrician, I made $72,000. And I had $12,000 paid into my pension and annuity. I'm now moving into my third year of my electrical apprenticeship. I'm going to be getting paid $87,000 per year, with $14,000 into my pension and annuity. Sometimes I think, well, if I went down the tech sales route, would I be making more money? Who knows? But I'm still super grateful for the opportunity to be an electrician. I'm trying to learn how to be more transparent on TikTok, so if you like content like this, drop your boy a like.
This is nice. Let me see what the people in the comments are saying. I feel like, folks, the US is a great place to make money, even if you don't have a degree. I tell you, that's what it's looking like. Even though a lot of Americans are complaining, but US, you guys do not understand. 55k for a first year apprenticeship wage. What the F? Low tech sales make you 200k a year low, but I respect the passion. Getting paid 80k as apprenticeship electrician is crazy. You can never get that type of money in UK. I love this.
This is my salary progression as a 25-year-old who studied marketing at Penn State. I saw Ellie Fraser do this and I loved this idea. I think financial transparency is so cool. I've worked in 4 different corporate settings, so let's run through them all. Starting out with my internship, I worked for a staffing agency called Insight Global. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar. They paid me, I believe, $15 an hour. Then, when I graduated Penn State, I was hired at Grubhub on their corporate sales team. However, the funny sick joke here is they actually laid me off before I could even start. In my offer letter, I believe I was supposed to be making $50k base salary plus commission. I went through the interview process before I graduated in May. I believe I got the offer around February, graduated in May, signed a lease, moved to Philadelphia and started the job in June. 2 weeks before my lease started, they called me up and was like, we can't afford to hire you. Perfect, great. So that led me to the next company I worked at, which I would call my first official corporate job. This was a small startup tech company. I did sales for them as well. It was a base and commission model. The base was 50k, and then with the commission, my first year there, I ended up making around 80k. Stayed a little bit longer, but was too miserable to stay for another year. So that's what led me to my current agency that I work for. It's a full service digital marketing agency. I did see an increase in my base salary, which was lovely. And after the first year there, between social media and commission plus the base, I made around $90,000. Now that was not exactly what I took home because we know how taxes work, but that gives you an idea. So hopefully this is year that I hit the
Well, it's a good one. Max that 41k, you make a ton of money. And sometimes you should max also get laid off from a job before I started post grad, so I'm right there with you. Can you talk more about how you got the job at the full service digital marketing agency and how the work culture is to work life balance? Is there anything like work balance now? Is there anybody that actually even enjoy work life balance? You just do what you gotta do when you gotta do it. That's just what it is. About to graduate with a marketing degree, and this is so refreshing to hear. You see, this is why I love videos like this. It gives you an idea and makes you know that you are doing okay, or if you are doing below par, you need to rise up. Girl, I just graduated from PSU last year and I'm nowhere near this yet. And you just showed me I need to be moving on sooner than later because I should know my worth. Exactly. See, I love videos like this. And she responded, know your worth. It's so normally to not be happy in your first role and don't be scared to move on if you aren't. And that's it. Move on.
One, because I'm nosy, and two, because it is truly the reason why I make salary transparency videos. One, because I'm nosy, and two, because it is truly the reason why I make what I make today. Having conversations with my coworkers and other people in my industry and using that to inform my salary negotiations. I have two disclaimers. One, when I was in college, a professor gave me this piece of advice: job hop as much as you can in your 20s. He advised that that is how you maximize your income and learn as much as possible as quickly as possible. That is what I did, and I do not regret it. Two, I asked for raises and promotions like clockwork. I did not spend a year at a company without asking for a raise or a promotion. So let's talk about my salary.
But here is the thing. How many jobs will give you a job increase, like a salary increase when you ask for it? Or just keep asking. I love that, not staying more than a year before asking. Ask as soon as possible, and if they're not giving you what you want, you move on. I love that. But just know, just be providing value. Don't just go and be asking for salary increase without providing any value.
Progression. When I was 22, right out of college, I was making $50,000 a year as a content and community associate. This was in New York City, so I was struggling to get by. And not even a year into that role, I asked for a raise because I simply couldn't afford to live in the city, and my boss bumped my pay to $65,000. About 6 months after that, I took a social media manager position at another company for $75,000 a year. The startup that I worked for went bankrupt, so I quickly got another job as a marketing manager where I was making $115,000 a year. I only lasted about 3 months in that job because I wanted to work in the fashion industry, and I ended up getting an offer, but I did take a major pay cut and was offered $85,000 a year for a senior social media manager role. About 1 year in, I asked for a promotion to better reflect my responsibilities. My title was changed to head of content and social, and I was making $97,000 a year. When performance reviews came around, I asked for another raise, and my salary was bumped to $110K a year. Now, I ended up quitting that job because it was extremely stressful. I decided to go freelance. So now I do freelance marketing, and my estimated take home for 2026, if everything pretty much remains the same from now until the rest of the year, is $200,000. A couple of ongoing clients who I have monthly retainers with, and the rest is through content creation, ceramics, and brand deals. I have to say that going into freelance, I work so much more than I used to, but I think it's 100% worth it because I have complete ownership over my own time. If you have any questions,
This is nice. I love it for her. Somebody said always job hop. In 2022, I was making 55K a year. I now make more than 50K a year. Wow, that's nice. 8 jobs in 4 years. Scare HR though. Mhm. It's for the HRs that want to be scared. Someone now responded, it's not 8 jobs though. I can't recommend freelancing as a marketer enough. It pays much better in my opinion. Mm. I think freelancing in every aspect actually pays more. What do you guys think? 200 200K dollars here, and over half of it goes to taxes and 41K. I probably take home less than 80K per year. No kids, single status, so the government is doing me really bad. So I want to know, people in America. So if you have children and you're married, does it affect the amount of tax you pay? Somebody let me know in the comment section. All right, guys, let me know if you want me to bring more of videos like this. I'm enjoying watching them in my private time, but let me know if you want to be seeing more of them. See you in the next video. Bye.